Test, test. Cool. All right. Howdy, folks. My name's Dave. I'm a woodturner. I started turning as therapy for PTSD. Found out I had a knack for it, fell in love with it, and then fell in love with teaching it. So I started this channel to become a better teacher, a better demonstrator, a better turner too, because more practice. But the more I share the knowledge I've learned over the years with other turners, helping them improve their turning skills, the more it gets cemented into my own head. So it's a win-win all the way around. So last night I was doing some skew work, and I wanted to try to come up with a little bit better plan to speed things up a bit for these little bee sticks. I do have to say, I was like, we were almost stuck with the side camera. It took me every bit of 25 minutes, I think, to get the cameras up, and it looks like that camera might be a little blurry, perhaps. I thought I cleaned that, but anyway, looks about the same. So yeah, wanted to speed things up if I could, and anyway, getting things set up. The OBS, the software that I send this to Twitch over, wasn't recognizing this camera, and I went through my computer settings, and in the hardware profile said, yep, both of them are hooked up. I'm like, okay, it's not this, it's got to be whatever. Anyway, it took a while, but I finally got this camera back running. So actually I can turn this one back. I should set this up really quick. I neglected to set this back because I thought I was going to be stuck with this camera off to the side for this particular broadcast. Fortunately not. All right, so doing these little bee sticks, I turned a little wooden piece to sit on the end of my live center to and this is only 3/8 of an inch deep, just enough to hold this in place. It's still a little bit loose. But every single dowel isn't going to be exactly the same size either. So I think that I drilled this out with a 5/16 bit. These are all supposed to be 5/16, but there's always some variation. So it's a little bit loose for this guy. Who knows in the future what's. But I just wanted to give this a go to see. I'm pretty sure this is going to speed the process up because I don't have to keep undoing the chuck. If I can do the whole stick at once, that would be awesome. I'm not expecting this to spin or anything. I don't know that it would. Really just to keep this. Yeah, that's not really working. Maybe it is. I don't know. We'll blaze through one of these. At least I know I don't have to undo the chuck every time. So that cut I'll have to make next to last, and then a cut to separate from the chuck I'll have to make last. Well, I'm getting better at that, being able to turn the bead a little bit from this side of the skew. Always good practice. There's a little D. definitely make this part easier. A little bit more light. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of stressing it out a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to have to say that's not going to be a good idea. That's a bummer. So maybe call it Chuck. Yeah, it even just spun that right off because that part is captured. Even with it being kind of loose, it just snapped that dude right off, which I haven't had an issue with not using this guy. So I guess I will wind up going back to unless something else comes to mind, go back to utilizing the chuck. So I may wind up I may wind up getting a collar chuck. I guess it would be handy for this kind of stuff. Just something I happen to be starting. This is a recent thing. It's not something I do all the time, but potentially could. So maybe again, a collar chuck would be worthwhile. We'll wait till after the shows that are coming up. Which, as a reminder, I'll be at the Crooked Tree Gallery Art Fair, July 26th at the Civic Center here in Traverse City. And then August 2nd and 3rd in Suttons Bay at the Suttons Bay Art Festival. That's a Saturday. Well, the Crooked Tree Show is on a Saturday, and the Suttons Bay Show is on Saturday and Sunday the following weekend. So hopefully you can make it out, come out, say hi. Take a look around. There'll be a lot of really cool art out there, I'm sure. So that's a bummer. That cut that a little short. So we'll switch gears. Let me get this guy off here. Go. That was a good idea, but it won't work for that. So one of the things that I mentioned yesterday was talking about scale and dollhouse furniture, miniature turning. And I thought it would be fun to run through this, doing a larger bowl here and then doing a miniature bowl with the smaller tools. I don't think I've ever actually seen anybody do this. It wouldn't surprise me if it's been done. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So let's get the bark off this guy. So what I got is this little piece of maple. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to have to actually... Well, let's see what we can do with that. I was just thinking out loud to myself about using the balance points. It's usually where I start. But on a miniature piece, I think that might be a little tricky. So that's that half. Let's see. It doesn't look like it has really any splits. The pith is gone, so, well, there's a bit of a split there. But this particular branch, well, it wasn't laying on the ground, so I think it dried standing in the air. This piece is actually seasoned, so that'll be one piece that I'll use. And actually I should grab the other bowl gouge. And shut the door I thought I shut. Okay. So this should work, and then my 3/8 bowl gouge should work for a miniature, so we'll go with that. That's the first piece. Cover up my computer here. I was expecting more difficulties, since it took me almost half an hour to get OBS to recognize that there was a second camera attached. Like I said, the laptop clearly registered that they were hooked up. It even had them by name, manufacturer's name or product name, whatever, both actually. Okay, so I got a half a log. I don't have a half a log here. What I do have is a smaller little chunk that'll be analogous, and I'm going to cut this in half to simulate that log. In theory, you know what? It would go a lot faster as if I step inside and turn on the bandsaw. Let's just do that. Let me see. Set that aside there. I gotta put this saw away. So you will get to hear it, but you won't get to see it. And basically, I'm just going to cut this in half, and it'll be my other log half. I didn't have any branches like right handy that would wait a minute, let me turn around. Oh, that's not a branch that I had that I could just like cut the branch in half and then have a better analog, but this will work. Same orientation. It'll be bowl orientation for this piece. It was a little bit of spindle material left over, but flipping it 90 degrees and cutting it in half will basically be the same difference. I just don't have to worry about removing the pith. And it really, I guess, only applies when you're talking about using entire log halves. Of course, that also depends on the size of the log, too. Like this smaller bowl that I'm going to turn is like a 5-inch branch. All right. This is just a nice little piece of birch that I had left over from, I don't know, a project. But I usually don't toss my little smaller chunks of wood out because I wind up doing things like this with them. Or use them for finial pieces. Actually, that might... I'm starting now, since it's warmer weather, I probably will try to keep up with it anyway in the winter. But been using wood scraps for barbecuing instead of charcoal. Okay, so here we have that guy and that guy. So we'll do this one first. We're going to time them. will take about the same amount of time. At least that's the prevailing theory. It's my theory, but really it's because the scale is different. And so with this one, I'm using a 5/8 bowl gouge. For this guy, I'll be using a 1/4 inch bowl gouge. And I don't need the skew for any of this, so I put that away. Put the honing tools away. And on the way through this, figure out how I'm going to jam chuck this guy. But I'll turn this bowl first, and then the features that I put on this bowl, I'll put onto this bowl so that they are the same. So I can set that dude up there for now. I think I can get away with doing searching for a balance point on this. I think this might have some, yeah, I guess it does, enough mass to it that whoopsie daisy, that shouldn't have come out of there. So I'll just move the whole thing up. Let's see what that does. Still kind of heavy there. All right. So I think that right there is going to be where it needs to be. So we'll get this guy set up, securing the lathe. Okay. And actually, I probably could use my phone for the timer. Getting rid of the bark that looks like it'll come off easy so that it doesn't just fly off when I turn the lathe on. Well, I guess that's not going to come off easy. All right, good. Okay, so let's get the timer started. And the clock, stopwatch actually is what I want. And hit start. There we go. And we're off to the races. I should have set this part up first, but we'll count that as part of the time because I'll have to reset it for the smaller bowl gouge too. So still checking to make sure that I'm not getting into any crazy spots. I think I might leave, well, maybe not. Just thinking about leaving that natural edge, but maybe not. Make sure I've got plenty of material that I can dip into for a hold on track. And it looks like I do. Let's see, I think I'll refine that shape a little bit better, but before I do that, make sure I've got sufficient wood, actual wood, to hold on to. And since I'm using a 3/8 inch spindle gouge, I don't own a 1/4 inch spindle gouge. Not that I own a 3/8 bowl gouge either, I'm borrowing that. But since I don't have the similar sized gouge, I'll use this larger gouge on this bowl just to give that same simulation. Looks like I've got to clean out these threads here. Okay. Couldn't get the robust quick change handle assembly to tighten properly. But that is an issue with these tools. They did say they came up with a fix, but I can't try it until wintertime again. Because all the stuff that I was experiencing, all the issues, were during the coldest parts of the year here. And I'm going to put this a little bit more. But there are also things that I had tried before, except for oiling. They suggested oiling with threads in there, and I'm really hesitant to do that because it does collect really, really fine sawdust shavings, whatever, in the threads there. And then having that oil just turn into a soup, I would think. Yep, I told them I'd try it. There's still a little shear streak in here now. Can't tell if that's tool mark or a wood feature. Looks like a bad bit of bug. A little bit of a tool mark, but the wood feature accentuates it. So I'm going to be taking the rim down to where this split is at, but it's higher on this side anyway. I just went for a bounce point on weight. And all in all, I see I've got crack there. The pith used to be way up here, and that wasn't actually visible with the meat of the log that I just took off there. So no idea what that was there, but I'm going to try. We'll see what happens when I get to that point. And I may wind up, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know how deep it is either. It just looks like it's a kind of a drying crack. There was something that was down here. I don't know if that is another. Oh, it is. That's another pith. So the main pith of the branch was here. And if we look at that, so the main pith was right in here, and this is another pith. Looking at it at the top, I didn't realize it was actually a pith, but it sure is. So there's another branch. This may have been somewhere near a crotch, I guess. Okay, so I got that far with this guy. Let's get this stuff out here and move on to the next holding thing. Actually, I can put this back between centers and sand this really quick. I should do that. We want to compare apples to apples. Okay, there's my abrasive, here's my mask. Okay. So I am going to wind up taking some of this foot down too. I had to adjust for the bullshit I was looking for. And since we've got I might be able to get away with this. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to hit this one more time. Now, stick with the rim will probably be in that area. Something like that. Which means that I can do this. At least in theory I can do this. So I have a bit of a beaded rim there. So now I can put this guy away. Or no, I better hold on to that. Now we can flip this around. And I can get rid of the mask for a little bit and the sander for a little bit. Let's get this elbow poker out of the way. All right, let's see. Will that actually fit in there? That might be close. Where are we at? Here we are. Or you know what? Let's have a real analog. I use the same chuck. I've got two. One has pin jaws on it, so I'll use pin jaws for the other bowl. So we'll probably have to anyway. So same key, all that stuff. Come on now. There. All right. Okay, tailstock way back. Yep, I thought so. Still a little high on the tool rest. There we go. see if that's the rim that will, you know what, I'll keep that. Yeah, that'll work. And since this is a small bowl, I mean, I'm taking this down in stages, but, you know, I'm basically making the whole bowl on those cuts from this side. Not how I normally do it, but it's a small bowl. I mean, for smaller bowls, I normally do it this way. So boy, they got real thin. Well, yeah, that's because there's a natural edge there. Okay, so that's fairly even. Get my bottom depth, which is right where I want it, so that's where it stays. And that edge. Then I'll borrow this filler. A little bit thicker bowl because of this natural edge that I'm leaving on it. Round that edge over. Just do a little bit. Looks like there's a little bit of funky wood in this piece, but Unfortunately, it's sanding out pretty easily. Okay, so now we just need to get rid of sanding marks. Darn it. Oh, well, at least they're coming out pretty easily, too. Okay. So I'll say that bit of abrasive is done. Need my key. Come on. So now let's reverse this guy. Let me see what I got that might. This might be too large in diameter. Yep. Oh, golly. Bend. Okay. Piece of mesquite. Nice. Oh, that'll work, maybe. Yeah, that'll do it, all right. But let's use that one. No, let's use this one. Come here. Yeah, let's use that one. Oh, there's two down here. Oh, nope, that is someday going to be a lid, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Don't want to use that guy. Actually, don't want to use that guy for anything. Ah! All right, I guess it is this one. If this will work out. Yes. Okay. Not going to cut the way you want if the tool rest is not in the right position. So I don't have a piece of leather small enough, so I'm going to go without for this, since I don't have one for the smaller bowl. Do I? Wait. Yes, I do. I do think I do have something that will work, so we'll... I think I might. Get that out of the way as well, since it will probably fall off the way and I'll have to go chase it anyway. Increase that foot down just a little more. Give it a little bit of detail. Just make sure that that is concave enough. It is. And I'm going to step over here and turn on the compressor real quick. It's nice. I got the parts I needed to fix it. And now it has the air dryer that it should have had on it. Okay. Okay, there we go. Finish bowl, timer, stop. So there's that guy. And we have 31 minutes, 25 seconds. I won't be able to use this. probably won't need to use this. So set those aside for now. Let's move that bowl and that jam chuck dude. I can actually turn off the compressor and it will hold pressure. Okay. So I need this guy. And that half right there. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have a bit of a tough time trying to get this on the balance point. So instead, and we'll count that too. So this is 31.25. Let me, just for funsies, this will be where I write it down. $31.
31.25.
All of that. Let's go back to the overhead only. Come on. Hey, now. What the heck? What? When did that change? Okay, now my computer's acting all weird. What is the deal here? Let me click on that. Okay, OBS is tripping out, man. I don't know what the deal is with the software today, but it's tripping out and not letting me choose even the cameras properly now. Huh. Okay. So 31.25. Clear that. Start again. This was part of the balance point deal, so I'll mark centers on this where I can. Fabric tape would be a lot easier, but I think I can fake it. Mark that center. Mark that center. Now let's take a look here. Is that going to be kind of close? But I should be able to, I think, turn the outside, unless I can get this guy off. Let's try that. Let's try that. Come on now. Where'd it go? Oh. There we go. That'll work for that one. That should work for that one. Good Lord! This is supposed to spin off, but I have not yet been able to do it intentionally. I've had it come off accidentally, and that's never any fun. Let's see, what have I got in here? I've got another Another something I can use as a drive center if I can locate it really quick. I'm going to pause the timer since this is not. Well, we'll take that off the time. I think it might be right in this bag. Is that the one? Well, that's a spur drive. I don't really. There we go. No, I can't use that either. I had a small one. Well, you know what? We'll just do without. Well, we'll just have to deal with it as it is. Instead of monkeying around, I don't know. I have, so a small drive center that I was never going to use on any of my equipment, but I held on to it for just in case kind of thing. So maybe there might be use for it sometime. That would have been today. Okay, turning timer back on. So that is whatever that is. A minute and 17 seconds. We'll take off the finish time. So let's get this guy up close and personal. Yeah, it didn't quite seem like the center there. It doesn't either. That's more like it. Still make sure it's secure in the lathe. There we go. Alright, so now I can put all of the larger tools away. And there's my 3/8 scraper, or spindle gouge, sorry. What I'm looking for now is my small scraper. There it is. Alright, bowl gouge. Let's move that cork out of the way. Oh yes, I need to set this up for the tool. So that looks about right. Too far off the tool rest. Okay, so I might be a little high on the tool rest too. Yep. Yeah. I wonder if I take this all the way down to the bottom thread, it might still be too low. Yeah, let's go up just a bit. Right in there. Alright, let's try it down there. It's not quite getting the right angle for the cut. There we go. That's a little bit better. Here I'm at here on my corners. So really close to the edge there. That's good. Take that down a little bit. It's a little too far away.
Shmuel said, "Got here a few minutes ago. Still can't figure out what you are doing."
Well, I was talking last night about, and howdy, how's it going? Talking last night about scale and turning miniatures. This kind of led into a little bit of a conversation about how long it takes to turn a bull. And I was saying, so this is that the result of that conversation last night is that I've turned a larger bowl with large tools, and now I'm turning a smaller bowl with the properly sized tools, and the time that it takes to make either bowl will be about the same. So anybody that thinks turning miniatures might, and it seems like maybe it would be easier or faster, but when you're using the appropriately sized tools, the difference is not that good. So I got to copy the larger bowl. Let's see. Let's copy this, dude. It needs to be a little bit squattier. Actually, once I bring the rim down to, I think it's going to be right in here. Something like this. Yeah, that's about right. I know it's definitely requires a very steady hand working with miniature versions everyday things like bowls, furniture, stuff like that. The physics of it all, I think, changes. For one, I don't have a lot of momentum or potential energy with this guy. And I'm going to take it down a little bit more. That little mark there I thought would be gone by now. And on a larger piece, much, 20, 30, 40 inch piece bigger or whatever, the potential energy is greater there. But I think when you look at it at scale, then who knows, it might even be a logarithmic progression, I'm not sure. But basically they're now analogous to each other. And so when I talk about this stuff and I tell people, oh yeah, how long did that bowl take you? Well, it took me the same amount of time as that bowl over there. Really? It's so small. Yep. Well, granted, in a lot of cases, well, maybe not a lot, maybe I'm overreaching when I say a lot, but there are cases where you can turn smaller things with larger tools. So that get rid of that mark. Yes, good. But in general, you can't really turn larger objects with small tools. It doesn't work in reverse. Unfortunately. Alright, so I need my chuck hole. I'm going to put that right here using, it's not a 1/4 inch spindle gouge, it's the closest thing I could come to the matching tools. So for the larger bowl, I use a 5/8 inch bowl gouge, a 5/8 inch spindle gouge, and then my big bowl scraper. For this one, I'm using a 1/4 inch bowl gouge, 3/8 spindle gouge, so that's the smallest I've got. And then just this round nose negative ray scraper, which, so it's all analogous is the whole idea. So let's straighten this out because I know this is going into the pin jaws to haul the bowl out. Now I need to establish my rim. What do I do with my pencil? And I say that it's going to be right in there. So I need to add these same features, these two beads, to that rim. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this first because it will be easier to deal with. Cutting beads in it, and if I don't have to sand that after the fact. So let's see. I need a piece of 220. That's 180 will do. Also a piece of birch. I think it's even got some figure in it. We'll find out when we get to that point. There we go. We're going for finished bowls. And that's what we're talking about, not just rough turning or whatever. It's a finished bowl. Okay. So that's good there. Now I'm going to, or is it though? Yeah, that's fine. So I don't need that much of an angle for this guy. Just want to get as close as I can for my spindle gouge. Alright, so to scale as close as I can get. Oh, well, this is sanding that out. What's the deal here? Oh, something wrong with the grind. That's just fabulous. So I need to fix that. That's not going to work. Yeah, that's why I was getting a skate. The wing wasn't quite shaped properly. Or it wasn't shaped quite properly. I get the English out there. I guess I could use my 40-degree gouge. Okay, I think. Still not right. What's wrong with it? There we go. Now I'm getting in the neighborhood. Okay, I think that'll do. Oh, shit. Well, we'll call that 2 minutes for sharpening. How's that? Alright, so back to this guy. I'm going to clean this up now. pretty smooth. I'm losing this gouge for a while. It's gonna be messing with me till I get that grind right. For some reason, I'm not able to right now. I think I should just stick. That's a detail gouge. It's got a very, very shallow flute, and that's what's giving me the fit. So I think, yep, that'll work as a rim. Let's clean this up. Now it definitely looks different, so yeah, that's the match pretty well. There we go. Try this yet again. Three Ds with a smaller one by the rim. That works. All right, now we're going to put this in the pin jaws. Wait, no, we're not just yet. Now we'll put it in the pin jaws. And where'd you go? Make sure it's seated against the face of the jaws. And let's make sure that this is at the right height. I think that will probably be okay to start. So, come on, down just a bit. There we go. Okay, that's not gonna work. Where'd you go? That will do. It's still too high. Thought I had it dialed in. Definitely got to get rid of this elbow poker guy. For now. Correct center. Yeah, thank you, Standbot. this just a bit for this guy. That'll work, I think. Just be a little bit. Little teeny tiny little nub out of there. Didn't quite get it. I got it. Now we reverse the guy. And finish it off. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the key that's on over there. There it is. So I need to find something that I can jam onto that guy. So here we have. Oh, I guess wrong camera. Let's try this camera anyway. So not counting for the natural edges on this bowl, we have the two beads with the small bead right next to the rim, and the shape is the same. So let's see, I would like to, would that work? This little jig dude that I just came up with? Ooh, man, that would be so close. Not quite right, though. I don't want to change that thing. So let's go with, not you. Let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Find me a short piece. Or not. Oh, that'll work. So we'll make a jam chuck out of this. Where are you? There you are. Let's see, I guess I'll go back to this guy. Yeah, why not? go. Time to bring the elbow poker guy out, but I'm going to extend the point on this. Because I need to get in close. Okay. Come on. Well, alrighty then. Let's try that again. If I can find it now. Oh boy. Okay. Where'd it go? Oh, come on now. It fell into the shaving, so I know it didn't explode. Not that it would have, but... Oh, come on, man. Seriously? Where did you go? There you are. Got down in the shavings pretty far. So let's get rid of this little bit here. See if we can't just use that. You don't want to, but you're going to have to. Come on. You really don't want to. All right, let's try center punch. Alright, I guess I'll just have to. Go with that. I really don't want to. I know what I'll do. Let's get rid of this tenon altogether. In theory, anyway. Come on. There we go. Back here. So let me jam it on there. Oh, now you're not wanting to jam on there. Somebody make up my mind. That should be. I should have been right on the line. Oh, come on now. You are not working with me. Why not? Alright, jam chuck be damned. I don't think this one will work. Nope. So I'm going to very carefully nice. So that is now a finished bowl. We can hit the timer. Oh, stop. So this guy took what, 21 minutes? What did I write in there? Got here a few minutes ago, still can't figure out. 31:25 for that one. And this one took, let's do the math here. It says 49 minutes, but we are subtracting 9 of those, so that's 40. So 31 versus 40, and with some of the flubbing around or whatever, trying to get the jam chuck to work, we can say that pretty much they took the same amount of time. The tools were to scale more or less, the best I could do. So really, there is no difference in turning, depending on what scale you're in, because on larger scale pieces, you're going to be using larger tools. Smaller scale pieces, you're going to be using smaller tools like this 1/4 inch bowl gouge, which I now want to cover that up with. That edge stayed pretty good. Again, it is a Robert Sorby. All right, so this steel was pretty good. So just looking at these two here, I guess just beating a dead horse. Um, so when we're talking about scale, which one is easier, which one is harder, whatever, they all have all different sizes have their idiosyncrasies, the physics that's involved with it. It's all pretty much like what your skill level can handle, right? So um, I can turn smaller items. I can turn 8, 10 regular size items. I can turn larger items. Not on this lathe. I can't. I can't get past 13 inches on this lathe. And usually I keep it at 12 or below because it's a 1-inch spindle, 1 horse motor, and it can't handle those heavier pieces without tearing the lathe up. But no matter what you're looking at, and I hope this little demonstration gives a little bit of appreciation to the people who turn miniatures. I've done a few. I said stools, little cabinet parts, a couple of bowls, done miniature stuff. It literally takes the same amount of time. So hopefully that gives you out there in Twitch land a better appreciation of what it takes to actually turn a miniature. For one, I mean, it's I don't want to turn so small. That's what I was joking about last night, where I need a magnifying glass. That's getting there, where I would have to have a magnifying glass. That right there it was still okay. That's a nice piece of birch too. It does actually have some figure in it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there is actually some figure in this little birch bowl. That's pretty badass. And this maple bowl's got some, but mostly a natural edge. So there we have it. I myself, wanted to test that theory too, because I've said it over the years over and over, but it's because I've done both miniatures and whatever service regular human sized whatever you want to call it pieces, and it's never it's not been like a huge difference in time. Even if I were to turn this the inside, let me grab this guy. I'd be really hard pressed. I could probably turn the inside of the bowl with this. I'd be really hard pressed to turn the outside of the bowl with this larger gouge, and I definitely couldn't turn those tiny beads with a larger spindle gouge. So there we are. I can quit. I can stop on that subject. I think that's a pretty proof positive that um, so far what I've learned working at different scales, it's more about what your skill level can get you to. It's not what's the biggest piece I can do, or I mean, I'm always looking to get like the best piece out of a piece of wood that I can get, not necessarily the biggest. What are we doing on time? Okay, so I've got a couple of, well, I could turn those bowls, I guess. This one looks kind of interesting, though. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. I can feel like cool breeze coming on, so I'm wondering if the rain's coming. I was thinking, because this has got some interesting features hiding in there. Let's get rid of the bark that easily comes off. That I think I'm going to turn a scalloped edged platter or something with it to try to capture. I don't know what's under here. I don't think. I mean, it might be burls. I don't know. Might not. So I'm hoping that there's some pretty interesting wood in underneath this and underneath this. This was a branch that kind of changed direction too, so I'm sure that compression wood is going to look interesting. So I thought I'd do a scalloped edge piece with this to try to capture, let's see, what was I looking at? I think I was going to capture something like this being the top, but we'll see. I got to make it rounder first. Let's just see what we wind up with. It was just an idea. I wasn't sure what to do with this particular piece. It just had so many different nodules on it. I'm like, well, we could just toss it up there on the lathe and see. There's the rain. All right, so I guess I need to close my garage door now so that my cardboard that normally sits in the back of the truck, thank you, Joe, doesn't get all soaked. Let me put this away, so I'm going to step aside really quick and close that garage door. Right after I put that away. Let's see, I think, yeah, it should go in there. Oh, it got a little wet already, but not bad. So let's. Close that down a little bit. Or actually, all the way. So yeah, that was kind of cool to back up my claims. Excuse me. So basically, half hour for a finished bowl, regardless of what size it is. At least in the realm of miniature versus regular size. Larger size stuff that has its own set of trials and tribulations. But again, you're using bigger tools. So essentially, it would be essentially the same. I think it might actually probably take a little bit longer with bigger stuff, would be my guess. Maybe a touch longer, just because you got so much more ground to cover when you're, say, hollowing a bowl. Or, doing a super large hollow form. So let's find a balance point for this guy. Throw some glasses on, so that's heavy in the bottom. Let's bring this side up then. Still kind of heavy in the bottom. I'm going to bring this side up again because I don't think that I had a straight enough cut with my chainsaw to get around the cup on the cup center here. Yeah, it's rubbing wood right now. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, now this one I can go this way up, and that won't be effective. Okay, so I went a little too high or too low. That's it. Stays where I put it. We're on the balance point. And I think what would be smart on my part is if I flop these around, because you can't see it from this camera, but I've got like an 1/8 of an inch gap where this wants to sit on the drive center. Really, that really is it, huh? Come on. Well, there's a little bit of a change there. It doesn't look like I'm getting any better with the contact on the drive center, so I was hoping. See, that's the biggest part. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say which is the bigger pass. So I'm going to flip it back around. I want the heaviest part of it more towards the headstock anyway. So let's say that's my guy. And then that's my guy. Go from there. Okay, so this one can come up a little bit. There was an indentation there already. Okay. So let's make sure it's secure in the lathe. I think this would work better with something more round, but I don't have it. I don't have anything like that available at the moment. Okay, let me swap my tool rest for that guy. I kind of feel like, let's see, that goes out that far. Well, let's just get started and see. Not the spindle gouge, although I think, nope, I will need that. So let's set that over here. And since this is a Reeves drive, I can slow it down manually without having to turn it on. got hiding in there? I don't know. I can't tell. That might have been a failed branch, actually. And that could have been also. It's hard to tell if there's any figure in that, but actually I can go this way some. So this has started to spalt. That's what all this coloration is here and there. Oh, there is some figure in here, but there's no spalting there. So this guy started to spalt. That's interesting. Let's keep going. Thought so. A little bit low on the tool rest. There we go. Everything clears. Okay, so there's going to be some definitely started spalting in there, yeah, especially on the outside. And then it's kind of, there's a little bit of punkiness right here, but that's going to get turned away. So I'm going to keep on going with the round business. Can't tell, feels like something is kind of slipping. And I think it's the tool in the handle. Alright, am I close enough? I'm looking at like this being the top of it. Am I close enough? Or should I be looking at, no, because I couldn't put a foot there. So this will have to be scooped out. The foot will have to be down here. Okay. So I'm going to take it down. I'm going to take it down a little bit more. definitely some figure in here. That'll be captured. Some of it will be captured in the rim. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, a little bit softer wood in this area, but that's where that other nodule was. Ooh, exposing all of that. Ah, no. Ah, wow. That is tremendous. Ooh, this may be a design change. Huh. To capture all of this. Wow. Well, I think this is going to turn into something else. I'd wind up cutting all this figure away to make a platter. I don't want to do that. I don't know that much of it would show up. It's definitely on the outside. I don't know. It's a hard call, man. Yeah, it's a hard call. I would definitely capture all of this in the foot. Let's go for it. Screw it. Let's go for it. Don't know how it's going to turn out, but we'll find out. It'll be unique and different. All right. Yeah, I want to clean up that surface, and then I'm going to cut a bunch of beads in it. That's just some really pretty wood. There's all kinds of figure with all these, I don't know, failed branches, and that one looked like it died. It's definitely hard wood though. It looks like a burl. Actually, that kind of looks like a burl was starting right there. The figure just, I mean, the grain just goes all over the place, and there's all kinds of figure right in here. That may have been what started to happen here, but this has started the spalting process. So I think it wiped out some of that, um, being able to see some of that figure. Yeah, I'm going to throw some abrasive on this guy. I wonder if I should just take all the bark off. Let's see how much of a pain that might be. Yeah, that's on there pretty good. So there might be some some bark hanging on here. Maybe. That wanted to come off. Well, I guess that means it's all going to come off then. Can't have some of you bailing ship and some of you not. Yeah, this might turn out to be more interesting than I thought it would. That's never a bad thing, right? Maybe? So, whatever on this natural edge that I'll have to carve off, I will do later. Actually, I think I've got, you know what? I think I've got some little grinders that might help me right now. Yeah, it's almost all gone, or mostly gone. It was on there pretty good. Most of the time, I try to save bark. Usually, I'm working with bark. It's nowhere near as tenacious as that stuff is. So, in a sense, it's almost a disappointment. I'm not doing a natural edge with bark on it, but that's okay. It's not, I mean, almost. It's not a forever missed opportunity. It's just, this is a design change that I want to try to capture as much of the figure as possible in. Okay. So let's throw. Yeah, this would look really interesting. I'm gonna throw some abrasive across this surface. That anywhere I can touch on that surface. Okay. Mask. This guy. And the crack sander. Yeah, we'll see how well this green flex. Wow. Well, that doesn't look good. Is that why green flex is on sale? Looks like the coating didn't quite get on there properly. Huh. Well, quit using green flex discs a long time ago. Because they weren't just holding, in my opinion, holding up as well as other discs, but I picked up a rougher grit. They were on sale. That's one down, and I haven't even used it. Oh well. Did some skipping around on all that, so I guess I'll just have to hook up the air to it. And I think I may have turned off the compressor. Come on. Dude, you can thread this. There you go. Whoops. Yep. That was the luck of the draw. Almost dumped my spindle gear onto the concrete floor. That would not have been a nice thing. All right. My opinion is the same. I think that the green flex discs don't last as long as discs that are like blue flex, backed in other colors. It is just my opinion, but oh, where did you go? Did you fall off into the shavings? Yes, you did. Okay, but where? There you are. All right, let's give what are we doing on time? No, not too bad. Give this outside bit a little work. All that lovely end grain. Cover up the computer. All right. We'll get back here. Just set up for the spindle gouge. All right, so what am I looking at here as far as length? Oh, let's grab this one. Nine. 2, 3, 4. It's kind of a big beat though. Let's see. but I didn't quite have my tool rest at the right height. Cutting beads this way almost feels like freehand drawing, you know? I can go with the flow. I would say this is definitely my favorite way to cut beads. I'm saying this is a rhythm to the skew. Really, I mean, the whole thing. It's all just a dance. Golly, how do I want to put that? I don't know. It's a full sensory experience, man. Everything has its own pace. Every wood has its own pace. Sorry, I'm just kind of lost in the travel. I'm not really saying much. Just watching the lines form on the wood. I cleaned up pretty well. Oh, I got a bit of an issue there. Some of that salted wood wanted to come out. Yeah, it got torn out a little bit. I guess we should look at the rest of that too. But that one really stuck out right away. Yeah, everything else looks okay. Just that one little spot somewhere. Probably right here. Alright. That's kind of cool, man. That's going to be kind of cool looking, I think, as a rim, in fact. I can pull this off. Okay, so mask time again. What dropped? What I do with the green stuff? There it is. Might as well use it up. It's going quick. So I'm doing this now. If you've never turned a scallop edge to anything, you wouldn't have as much appreciation, I guess. But it's a lot harder to sand once the form is done. And sanding between all these. And I am having a little bit of trouble, but it's because I've got so many air gaps. But it still would be much easier, so much easier than trying to sand it off the lathe after the piece is done. And having to go each individual one and sand it in the right direction and all that. So in theory, at least, I won't have to really hit these with any more abrasive after these scallops. kind of sounds like playing cards and bicycles both. If any of you out there old enough to remember that kind of thing, I sure am. I think, nope, one more spot. I think it looks okay. Yeah, look at the grain on this. It just goes all over the place. So I really do think that was the beginning of a burl because it's all twisted up. That's a trip, man. All right, time to mess it all up now. Time to mess it all up. Let's see, do I have something like that and that? That'll work. So first thing I want to do is I want to find a midline, and I want to trace it all the way around because I'm going to turn this 90 degrees in the lathe. Whoops, actually, let me find that. So let me erase that line. Wow, there's some really wild spalting happening right in here. Getting up inside all of the wild grain. Maybe I'm wrong, man. Maybe this will look really, really cool as a scallop dish. Gave up on the box idea, but look, hopefully this will. Let's see, I think I got. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is my middle line right there. I don't know if I want my middle line right there. Maybe I want the middle line to be a bead. So maybe I'll take this bead off. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make this one the center bead. So I will take this bead off. Three, 6, 7. This is the center bead. Bull gouge, bull gouge. Who's got the bull gouge? Did it fall off? No. Oh, it's right there in front of me. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me. than a frontal robot. Too bad. B for bull guys. Okay, so that's my center now. Now my center bead. Well, I suppose I should probably go ahead and finish that. We got 10 minutes left in the broadcast. But okay, pencil. I need. Let's see. That looks like that'll be, and that'll be. Oh no! Oh no! That's not good news. Uh-oh, Chongo. Ah, cool. I did not put this in the magnets where it belongs. Alright, so I'll have it, let's have it down. So that will be the center there. And I need to go 6 of these slots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Center one should be on the other side. This is the center bead. Pull that down. So originally I was going to say I need to draw a line all the way around to make sure that they match. But this is really close to that. And so now I just need to Mark my center there. Let's get rid of that mark. Let's put that away so I don't lose that now. Okay. Now I have to figure out what's going to be the top and what's going to be the bottom. I would have more material here for the foot, right? Let's see. So somewhere in there versus, I guess it evens out. So I'm going to make this the foot because most of the figures up here, I want to capture as much of that as I can. So this will be the bottom. And we'll just put a couple of B's around here. To help remind my brain. Yeehaw, man. Cool. All right, let's see. I need to move this guy closer. But perhaps not that close. Okay. So since that's the bottom, well, that doesn't make any sense. This is where I'm setting is going to have to be the bottom or this, which would make this, if I do this as the top, you know what? This will be the bottom. So this is going down here. The bottom and top are actually going to be where the points go in. Hello. And this will be the top that I'll carve the dish out of. Where's all the figure? All the figures here. So all the figure will be in the top part. Yay. And there'll be some figure in the bottom around the foot. All right, that I can be happy with. So this is how I'm going to start it off. Still need to make sure. Oh, and it's going to get rid of this split there, but not here. So I'll have to do something about that. Oh, maybe that's something else I should double check. Where have I got issues? Okay, that's just loose bark. If I make this the top, then I've got to deal with this crack being part of the dish. I don't want that. So this will be the bottom. That will get carved away. The foot will be here, and all this crack should mostly be gone, except for a little bit right in the foot. Yes, I accept that. So all that split, that crack will be gone. It is unfortunate that some of that figure will go away, but let's see. I don't know. I'll see what happens as I turn. I'm right at the tail end of the broadcast, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Get this guy set and in place. I can move this for now since I'm not turning it right away. It's not green wood. Okay, I'm going to say that's secure enough. So it's not green wood, so leaving it here is not going to be a bad thing for this evening. Let's get rid of. Oh, that's more spalting. Ooh, more spalting is showing up. I hope I get some of that spalting in the piece itself, but there's definitely the black line part of the spalting. I mean, this discoloration here and here, all this discoloration in here, that's the beginning of the spalting process. So that's what it looks like early on until it starts getting these little lines, if it does get those little lines. So these little pale areas, that's already the beginning of the spalting process. So there'll be some figure in here. Not as much as I was hoping, but that's okay. We got to work with the material that we have. All right, so I'm going to remove that, hit that, grab this. There we go. All right, so another wood turning Wednesday under our belts. Thanks for joining me. This is you get a bird's eye view basically of just running through the process or processing wood, the creative process, what I'm looking at. Excuse me. And it was fun to turn those two bowls as well, which, I'll grab them again. That was, that was, that was nice. I think I should, I think I'd like to put together a video just to show that. But so here we have the two bowls with the same designs. Let's turn that thing off. I don't know if you can actually even see the beads in that lighting. Let's so yeah, that was a lot of fun. But it is interesting to note that when you think about it at scale, it takes the same amount of time to turn miniature stuff. You can take some shortcuts clearly with miniature stuff that you can't necessarily take with larger items. Like you might be able to start hollowing a smaller bowl or platter or whatever with a spindle or a bowl gouge, 3/8, 5/8 bowl gouge or bigger, and get a lot of material off that way. But if you turn it at scale with the properly sized tools, it takes just the same amount of time. And I always thought that was interesting to note. A lot of people kind of give me the side eye because they don't understand, but it's the scale of it is really all it is, and the only thing that limits you is where your skill level is in relation to that. So, there's a lot of miniature um, turners who turn in miniature, and I mean, this lathe would be perfect for doing tons of miniature stuff. It would be like a heavy duty 1 inch spindle for small things. I think this would be a really great lathe for that. It's great for doing things that I do, but just talking just strictly, if that's all I ever did was miniatures, this would be a good lathe for that. It definitely has a heft, um, more so than like a benchtop lathe, if that's what you know. Perhaps somebody uses a benchtop lathe to do miniature stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that or right with that or anything. They just have a different lathe, but having this, I mean, it would just be really solid, is what I'm saying. You'd pay the price. I don't know what benchtop lathes are running for lately. The last time I bought mine, it was what, 550, and I know this particular lathe has doubled almost in what they're selling it for. This one that I've been working on today, this one's doubled in price since I bought it, and since I got it. And this lathe I got in 2015, so 10 years later, it's doubled in price. It's not the same machine. I mean, it's the same model and all that stuff. They've made some tweaks to it, so it's not like the same, but it's the same model. They just improvements or whatever they're doing, but it's a pretty solid machine for working within that size range that it can actually handle. Um, I think the larger piece is 13 inch, sometimes 12 inch. It even depends on the wood, like how dense or how heavy the wood is, and whether or not this machine can deal with it very well. But like maple, cherry, walnut, as long as they're not super dense, super heavy, this lathe that's just fine. If that's in your head, like I have to wait until I get X and such lathe before I can start doing this and such kind of technique or whatever, don't think that way. Work with the tools that you have, the equipment that you have, and all that stuff that you learn, that your body memory, muscle memory picks up, will translate to another lathe. You will have to make some adjustments, of course, if it's a bigger or smaller lathe, depending on how that works, or which direction that goes for you. But yeah, don't let that stop you either. I mean, there's nothing wrong with turning, on a small benchtop lathe that has a 3 inch swing, something like that. If that, maybe 2 inch. And you're turning pens or you're turning spindle pieces for furniture. You can turn tiny bowls with that. It doesn't matter. You're just using smaller tools. That's the only difference. So anyway, I hope that stuff like this inspires you to go out and do your own exploration, do your own little experiments. Get out there on the lathe and get some more time under your belt. Get that experience. It's the practice that is the secret sauce to all this. Turning really is finesse. It's almost all finesse, and I still have much to learn. And I mean, there's so many things in the wood turning world anyway. I probably won't be able to touch every single thing on that is out there available to do or to explore. But I'm going to keep going, and I hope that watching this channel, hanging out, even getting involved in the chats and whatnot, kind of inspires you to either get started into turning, maybe jump back into it if you've kind of left the fields fallow for a little while. Get out there and practice, man, because that's what makes you a better turner. It's not a machine. It's not a tool. It's not some special whatever, something you can buy. It's putting the practice in and getting the body used to and learning the muscle memory, getting the body used to it and muscle memory. That is the key. So I hope that you go forth and turn. I hope you enjoy. I have a lot of fun. I have. I don't know. I think it's kind of a mixture of both. I have fun freewheeling and like figuring out, just throwing a piece up on and see what the piece tells me it's going to be. But I also have fun with stuff that's planned and its project and all that stuff. I think it's more the mindset. Um, I'm going to say 51%, maybe 52% freewheeling is more my gig. And then the other 48% would be just as enjoyable. But if I had my druthers, it'd be more freewheeling. But it's just kind of letting it flow and seeing what comes out. I have no idea what this piece is even gonna. I have an idea of what the shape is gonna look like, but I don't know what it's like gonna look like until it's done. Because of all the grain, the interlocking grain, and all that, and all the stuff that's going on with this piece. But that is like the exciting stuff. And to get there, to be able to read that stuff in the wood, and I'm no expert, but to be able to even start to begin to read that stuff in the wood, it's time behind the wheel. Uh, but man, it's worth it. It's worth it for sure. And consider. I mean, like I say, I've started turning as therapy for PTSD, and it has been fantastic therapy to keep my focus in the now because this thing's spinning around at 60 miles an hour. In fact, if I turned it on now and turned the camera on, it looked like a propeller because it's we've got it in bowl orientation now when we started off with spindle. So it's going to kind of look like a propeller. Uh, but I mean, being able to do all those things, I don't know, the different axes, blah, I don't know, just blah, blah, blah. I'm just enjoying the crap out of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I hope that I inspire people to get to that point too. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm not saying I haven't had my frustrations in the past, and I have. But it's putting the time in to learn how to adjust for those. And then, on top of that, it's like working with all the tools that I have. I'll pick up a tool and I will do everything I can with that tool, everything I know how to do. And if I learn something new, I'll try that too, to add that to the toolbox, if you will, the skill sets, toolbox of skill sets, what I can do with a bowl gouge, what I can do with a spindle gouge, what I can do with a skew. Because they really are much more versatile than they are often portrayed. Even still, there's turners out there that talk about this the same way I do. It's like get good with one tool, get really good with one tool before you pick up another one because the enjoyment that will, for one, man, I had the word right at the tip of my forebrain, and now my forebrain is sliced off the end and it's fallen all over the floor. Getting good with one tool translates into another tool. Is the best way I can put it without using the proper word because it's escaping me now. You get really good with one tool, you pick up another tool, and then the learning curve, there we go, it was more of a phrase. The learning curve is shorter. You get really good with that tool, move to the next tool, learning curve gets even shorter. Now, learning curve never goes away because each tool is a new experience. And then as you pick up new techniques that you can do with the tool, that adds a little bit to it. Of course it does. It would be a new technique or a new tool. Of course it would add something to it. But when you have like one really good solid tool that you can do things with, right, then getting to the next tool is not so intimidating. It's not so difficult. Don't spread your focus all over. All I got to have all these tools. That's what I did when I started. I bought three different full what they were calling turning kits, skews and spindle gouges and bowl gouges. I bought three kits off of eBay, and I think there was another auction that I just happened to luck into, and this guy had a full set of old Craftsman turning tools, and I still have a couple of them that I use Yeah, right here. In fact, my parting tool, the one that this is the longest surviving parting tool I have, and it's an old Craftsman. Um, so I do have one or two of those tools. For one, the steel wasn't as good as what I found in buying, clearly better tools. But being able to focus on one tool at a time instead of trying to figure out, I have all these tools now, I have to use them all. I don't even know where to start, and it becomes a soup, a mind soup. uh, no different than going to school, and they don't throw all the subjects at you in one class. It's like this class is math, and this class is science, and this class is geology, or whatever the hell they teach in school anymore. I don't know. And so they're little separate islands of instruction, right? Same with a tool. If you throw it all at once, it becomes overwhelming, and you don't know where to start. And then also there's a real risk of not getting very good with those tools because you're trying to all these tools all over the place. One at a time is my best advice. Um, I didn't do that. Not until I got involved with my first mentor, and that was Lyle Jameson. And then it was almost all bull gouge, but I still had the Giannis for the skew. I knew I had to. I just knew that I could. I don't want to say master the skew, um, because I'm sure that with all these tools, even the stuff that I've learned, there's more that I haven't discovered yet. Um, but I knew early on that the skew I wanted to be able to tackle, get that under my belt, because to me that was the most intimidating tool out of all of them. And then I found out that it's really not, when you do it right. It's really not that intimidating. It just seems so. It's a long knife edge that you're putting right up against the wood. It's in a different orientation and shape than the other gouges, and that is the intimidating part, especially with the, you just have to learn a couple of rules and follow those rules pretty religiously, like don't let both points touch the wood when it's rotating and you're trying to carve or turn, little things like that. But when I do pick up a tool, I focus on that tool for a period of time. I don't pick up other tools. I work only with that tool all the way through all the things that I think I can do with it, or that I've learned to do with it, to see how far I can take it, where I can push it to, because I want to have as few tools as I absolutely need to be able to do a project. I don't want to have to carry every single tool everywhere I go. I want to have the tools that I know that I can use, and I can get those things done, whatever it is. So, work with a tool at a time. Anyway, thank you very much for your support, for visiting this channel, for involving yourself in chat. I appreciate that very much. For looking even in the background and having this broadcast run, that is still support, and I appreciate that very, very much. It's views, and that's how these platforms work, right? You got to have views and followers and whatever. So I thank you very much. My follower base is slowly starting to increase, and I've only been, I'm at a year and a half now of streaming, and I'm really enjoying the experience and the people that I'm meeting online, not necessarily face to face, although a few of you I have seen your faces, and hopefully we will get to meet sometime in the not too distant future. One of those is Dan Stark. I'd like to meet him face to face, but I've seen his face. I've seen um, uh, some of his demo videos, so I know at least what he looks like. But again, thank you very much for the support. I hope that it continues, and I hope that I'm continuing to give you content that brings you back. Anyway, I hope you all stay friendly. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you next Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you get a chance to turn if you can. and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks again, folks, and good night.